I'm Jane Purinton. I teach office administration, career technical education.
I'm Peter Simon. I'm the Dean of VOCAD at College of Alameda. But my background is teaching basic skills writing for a number of years.
I'm Fred Marks. I teach in the automotive department, ATech, and I've been also teaching in the English department.
David Paravania, student aide and teacher assistant.
Scott Albright, diesel mechanics department chair and instructor, and leading the FIN team. I teach diesel engines and forklifts, and what we're doing is investigating, embedding basic skills into the diesel curriculum.
I don't know much about diesel mechanics, but I'm excited to learn about how I can incorporate those concepts into my class. I know that for me is going to be a challenge.
In the automotive department, we have two other classes that they take, one for communication skills and one for math skills. So they take separate classes to get the basic skills needed in auto tech. So in here we're looking at incorporating those into the diesel program itself. So they'll be taught the basic skills within the confines of the diesel department.
What did you do through the semester in terms of starting the inquiry? What are some of the things you guys did?
Well, we interviewed students with Fred.
Yeah, we actually did a pre-test on them on reading. So they read a chapter, they took the chapter test, and then we gave them a survey on how much they read, so on.
We told them to read a chapter, and then we did a chapter test.
And then did the chapter test. And then we surveyed them on their reading and how they read and so on, and so what strategies they used. And then from there we were going to develop, like in one of the classes I was going to go and do an introduction and do a think aloud while reading on strategies to read and how to read, like read the summaries first, read the chapter test first so you know what to look for as you're doing the reading. And we had pretty much gotten to that point.
It was a regular college assessment test, and at first we got this idea because we knew we had to do some assessment. We were struggling with it. And so finally we said, well, why don't we just do the assessment that the college does? This is what Jane said. So then we got this sheet saying, okay, we've got X number of people that are this way, X number of people are this way, so on and so forth. We found that those things that were pointed out in assessment is what these students themselves were telling us, and then what our test scores reflected in the classroom. The people who excel in the classroom typically excel in the laboratory as well. And they also become natural leaders in the class where they become team leaders or people go to them for help when I'm not available.
When you were interviewing the students, the ones who had more success, did they know why they had success? Were they able to say, I mean, they must have been because they said internet and stuff, or did they just, in other words, did they have these skills and maybe not know they had them?
I think some of them are aware. I don't think all of them are. They've just developed these skills. The people that do better are the ones that maybe not consciously but subconsciously realize where they work better and how things work for them. And then we surveyed them on their reading and how they read and so on, and so what strategies they used. Think aloud while reading on strategies to read and how to read, like read the summaries first, read the chapter test first so you know what to look for as you're doing the reading.
This book, who did they think was going to read it?
Well, entry-level people in the kind of programs that we're teaching. But I remember when I did my college courses in this stuff, I noticed this stuff was all engineering level as well. A recent student of mine, about 3 years ago, has a friend who is an engineer and went to school at Cal and graduated, I guess got a PhD in some kind of engineering, and looked over the textbook that she was studying, and she said, wow, this is engineering level stuff that we study at Cal. I kind of go over that stuff and kind of filter some of it out, try to do that ahead of time with the reading assignments, and that's why I've kind of told them in the past just to go through the summary in the back of the chapter, kind of get involved in the glossary so you can understand some of the words, and then just do the chapter tests in the back of the chapter, and that would be sufficient study. Kind of formulated something like that, but we didn't get a chance to do that with our students this semester because I got pretty sick at the end of the semester and was hospitalized, so it kind of threw a wrench in the works.
What is it that distinguishes them, do you think?
Motivation, and they know how to study. Like several of them said they didn't even read everything, they just skimmed through it and picked out the stuff that they needed to know. Others said that they went to the internet, to look up the stuff they didn't know and that was unclear in the reading. So they had proper study skills, and the other ones did not.
For the most part, they just said we didn't read it,
We
or
didn't
we
read
didn't
it.
study, or, oh, I was too busy, or some excuse.
I figured I'd get it in class. I didn't read. That was
Because my lectures are,
most of the loads.
my lectures cover most of what they need to know anyway. We want to do a component of reading to follow up, to get better information and better data, but we also, our other main thrust, we want to do the math in the fall, and then I want to do the technical communication in the spring. Well, they have how to do basic conversions, like from metric to fractional, or from decimal to fraction and back. They have to know how to use torque wrenches and how to set them. They have to know how to read things in thousandths, hundredths, and tenths, doing measuring devices. So they have to know sizes of bolts and thread pitch and stuff like that, but it's all math related.
We did have the students in the class tested up at the Learning Center to see where their reading levels were. Reading skills are life skills. You need to, and students need to learn to take the opportunity to learn how to read. You need them in the workplace, you need them in life. But some people can't, and we don't know yet which students are auditory learners and just can't read for whatever reason, and which students aren't reading because they don't want to, they don't want to take the time to do it, they don't care enough, so we didn't get into figuring out what was getting in the way of students. What we've done in my class is, for the first time this semester, we got a tutor to sit in the classes with me, and she took, at the end of the class, she would stay for an hour, and I would work with students for an hour, and she would take the ESL students who were having language issues, I would take students who were having study issues, and work with them on the material that we had just covered. And that seemed to work. So the people in the class who were okay, who were surviving on their own, fine, they would go home, but the others, we would work an extra hour.
One of the things I want to do, which we haven't even touched on yet, and I'm a part of the academic senate here, and I voted so that we would hire basic skills instructors, because that's what they said they wanted. We're part of this BSI thing statewide. And so I've been part of that from day one. And so I voted for that. And so what I want to see happen, I think this Finn thing is really the kickoff, and I think the follow-through is to get these basic skills instructors spending time in the classroom, helping the instructors develop this stuff further, or at least seeing how it is implemented, because what you were talking about, it's the formula for disaster if you don't keep in control of it somehow.
Yes.
We want the expert to come up with the nuts and bolts, but we want the team to formulate the strategy.